What up, everyone? Welcome back to Week by Week. It's been a minute. We're gonna try to be consistent. I know we say it every time, but we're here for now, at least. So, where do you want to start it off with? I got some topics written down. We can go.
So we started off with one of the biggest trades in the offseason with your team, the Tennessee Titans, picking up Julio Jones.
Listen, man, I've had a lot of people come up to me and tell me that they hate it because of his contract. But Julio, he did like a deal restructure. Because he did it the moment, or he said he was open to doing it. I can't think of
Did
what
he ever do it?
He hadn't done it yet, but he said he was open to doing it. And basically what the deal restructure is if Julio is a complete ass, essentially, after next season, we can cut him with almost no penalty.
I would suck if y'all have to do that.
If we have to do that, I mean, I don't know. I don't expect Julio to come in, though, and be some 1,000-yard guy. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think Julio's going to go over 1,000. I really don't. I think
I'm kind of at the 1,000 mark.
I think between 800 and 1,000 and 7 to 8 touchdowns for Julio. Which, I mean,
Yeah.
But over the last couple years, Julio hasn't been much of a touchdown guy. He's been just, I'm going to get you a lot of yards.
Yeah, he's been insane for yards.
I mean, he's just, he's not the receiver that he once was, obviously. But, I've seen a lot of workout videos from him, and, A.J. Brown, of course, did some really, really hard recruiting. And I love the trade, dude. I really do, I'm going to look up the full details.
I believe it was a second or fourth, but I'm not
we
positive.
didn't give it. So we sent a 2020 second and a 2023 fourth for Julio Jones, which, I love it. We didn't give up our first, but I was watching this guy on YouTube, and it was like, he doesn't understand. It's a Titans guy I listen to, and I think he made a great point, and I want to hear what you got to say. So he said that he doesn't understand why teams are so, keep such a big lock on first-round picks, because he said a player that's already in the league and proven is a lot more proven than an unproven rookie. So, in a Julio Jones, situation, say we would have given up a first. Of course, we didn't, but say we would have. Realistically, the Titans are, no matter how you feel about them, they're in position to win the AFC South. So my question is how valuable, if it would have been a first, how valuable would that first have been really versus getting, a top 10 receiver of all time?
Well, I do see what point he makes, but you also got to know that you got to have young talent on your roster to build for the future. And not only
I think it depends on what kind of situation your team's in. Tennessee, Tennessee's in a win now mode.
Yeah.
We're not rebuilding. We've got all the pieces. Now it's just applying those pieces. We're in a win now mode. Just hope it sticks. But
yeah. Now, if you're a team, maybe even not like the Titans, maybe you're the Bears. Maybe you're kind of middle of the pack, sort of how you've been the last 2 years. Even though you made playoffs last year, you were still a mediocre team. Now, I think even in that situation, first-rounders are still very valuable. And, of course, with teams with bad records and teams that are not win now, especially those. But it's you got to have young talent for the future.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, Titans, Chiefs, it's a late first. But I still do think that they should be valued, and I know that they do, but maybe just a tad more than what the league is today. Because it just seems like firsts are being handed out left and right.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely are. They're definitely not as I don't want to say they're less valuable, but they're giving out a lot more than we've seen.
It's like teams just stretched to make a big move when it could have maybe taken less than a first. It's just some teams will just throw it out.
I mean,
say that's a last resort.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the Titans, the receiving core. I mean, I was terrified about this upcoming season because, A.J. Brown, he was basically our only guy after Corey Davis left, and then speedy guy, Khalif Raymond, he left, and then, Adam Humphries, they cut him. So I was like, man, you know, like who is Tannehill going to throw the ball to? And we signed Josh Reynolds, which, you know, Josh Reynolds was a solid third, fourth guy out in LA for a couple years. But you know, I think I really love the Titans receiving core now. I love it. You know, AJ Brown, and obviously Julio Jones. But you know, I like Josh Reynolds. You know, they drafted Des Fitzpatrick. I think it was a reach, but I mean, you know, he could
pan out.
He could pan out, and apparently, you know, he's looked really good in the not mandatory training camps, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
What do they call them? OTAs.
Yeah, OTAs.
Apparently, he's looked really good in OTAs. He's I don't know too much about him. I really don't. I need to do my research on him, but you know, and I thought that first round pick was solidified as Elijah Moore going into the draft. I really did. They surprised me when they took Caleb Farley, but we'll get into that one in a second. But you know,
yeah, not even to mention Derrick Henry in the backfield. Like this,
well, I mean,
could
it's like, yeah,
really be the best offense in the league.
Well, I mean, yeah, because what do you do with them? Because if you stack the box, then you know you've got AJ Brown and Julio Jones that are gonna, you know, they're gonna body whoever's on them, or Julio will. You know, AJ's still a little bit unproven, but I think AJ Brown's a stud.
I think he's gonna take off. Even with Julio, I think he'll take off.
I agree, especially with Julio mentoring him. And AJ Brown, I'm not saying he is Julio Jones, but he plays a lot like Julio Jones. A lot like.
I think he's a bigger body type of guy, but same style of play. I do agree.
AJ Brown tries to play both ways. Like I've seen him, you know, just completely dust guys, and then I've seen him, you know, like against the Texans earlier in the year, he caught that touchdown to force overtime. And,
that was awesome.
And he you know, he played big body there. And against the Ravens, when we beat the Ravens in OT earlier in the season, he played big body against them. So, you know,
I do think it's a very good thing though if you can just switch up your game like that and be capable of doing both ways of playing the ball, whether you're a speedy guy burning defenders, getting open, or even just going up for a 50-50 ball.
It's a beautiful thing. I mean, it really is. And, you know, like I was saying, though, I mean, if you stack the box, you know, what do you do about, you know, arguably the best receiving duo in the league? Arguably. I'm not saying they are. And then, you know, but then if you don't, Derrick Henry's going to, you know, have 150 yards and 2 touchdowns on you. So this
may be a bold statement, but I think they have the best offense in the league next year.
The only
I don't know how you feel about that. But.
No, I agree. They had the best offense in the league for a majority of this year. But you know, and I think this could be bold. And Tannehill's not my MVP like prediction, but I do think Tannehill could very well be an MVP candidate this year.
He's capable of it. I mean, maybe this will be a reach, but I could see, like, you know, 35, 40 touchdowns from him, and he's never been a big turnover guy.
No, he hasn't. Tannehill was very, very protective with the ball last year. And of course, you know, it helps when you have Derrick Henry to give the ball to. But, you know, me and Tyler have been talking, and I think, you know, I had kind of like a love-hate relationship with Arthur Smith. I liked him, but I loved him on some days, and then I could not stand him on some days. I am partially glad he's gone. I think he's actually head coach now in Atlanta.
Yeah, he's head coach.
So I don't know, man. Like, if, you know, and I've told you this, and this is a message to all my fellow Titans fans out there, and I truly think this. I think you're crazy if you want Derrick Henry to go for 2,000 again. I seriously think you're crazy. With the weapons that we have, no. Derrick Henry cannot go for 2,000 again. I don't think his body can handle it. And Derrick Henry, the reason we lost last year to the Ravens is because we became so damn predictable. It's the same thing. It was the same thing last year. It was run Derrick Henry up the middle on first down and then play action to A.J. Brown or Corey Davis. It was the same shit.
Yeah, you got to switch it up, especially with Julio on the other side of A.J. Brown.
I mean, yeah, no, you can't, you know, we can't. I'm not saying Derrick Henry shouldn't get his carries. Derrick Henry's still going to get his, you know, his 20, 25 carries a game. But him getting 30, 35 carries, it can't happen. Unless,
not with those weapons.
Unless he's averaging like 6 yards a carry and just destroying, it can't happen. But and I want to see Darrington Evans. I want to see Darrington Evans touch the field. Darrington Evans in very very limited time last year was very good. I liked him out of App State, and I love him as a backup to Derrick Henry. And I need to see him get some touches next year as the backup running back. Whether it's in the second half and we're blowing the team out or whatever, I need to see him get some touches.
Yeah, that's another thing too. If y'all are blowing out an opponent, I would give Derrick Henry a rest. Like, I think he's the best running back in the league.
We didn't do a lot of that last year, and it showed.
No. Mhm.
But partially,
I don't know if y'all should run first or pass first. I think I would lean towards rushing the ball first because it worked for y'all last year
until the playoffs.
But, yeah, but if things are kind of like you're kind of becoming a little predictable, you got to just switch things up and not do the same thing.
But see, and that's the thing. We didn't switch it up all season, and then come playoffs, and when the Ravens started exposing it, we didn't know how to switch it up.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the biggest problem, and I don't know. It's Derrick Henry. I was hoping we would sign like a decent backup running back this offseason to give Derrick Henry some breathers. But I'm really hoping Darrington Evans gets more involved. I like him. He's he's a big body, but he's also kind of speedy. So I like it a lot.
I wouldn't have minded y'all getting maybe a speedy veteran back, sort of like a Matt Breida in a way.
What's the name of the back? He played in Miami and he just signed with the Raiders. I think he just he played in Arizona too this past year, I think. He's a speedy guy. He's backing up Josh Jacobs.
Are you sure it's not Denver?
No, he's not. Hold on, I'll tell you. Let me look up their depth chart. The Raiders' depth chart. Dude,
because I know they signed a dude from Denver.
I sound so stupid. Kenyon Drake.
Oh, yeah.
I would have liked Kenyon Drake to back up Derrick Henry.
Yeah, it's, even, like, I'm going to switch teams here for just a second, but it's like with the Bears. You got David Montgomery, who I believe is a really underrated back. But behind him, you got Tariq Cohen, which brings a whole different style of play. But you also got Damian Williams, who was an unsung hero of the Chiefs' Super Bowl win.
Mm-hmm.
And could honestly have even won the Super Bowl MVP. He had that good of a game.
Yeah, no, he very well could have.
Yeah, he solidified that last touchdown for them, I believe, and then Garoppolo threw that pick.
Yeah, man, I just I need to see Darrington get some carries this year. I need to see it, and I need to see Tennessee throw the ball a lot more. But
how many attempts would you say Tannehill averaged last year per game?
I only seen Tannehill go over 20 completed passes a couple times.
Damn.
I think he did it against the Steelers when we came back, and then Gostkowski, asshole, and then he did it against the Texans, the final game of the year, and really, let me look that up. Let me just look up Ryan.
It's really not a bad question.
No, it's not. Let me look up his game log. So he did it one. He did it one. Okay, he did it more times than I thought he did. I'll say that. One,
I just
two,
wondered how many of those were like maybe when y'all were behind or something.
Well, he did 29 against Denver, and that was the opening game, and we were behind. 23 against Minnesota, we were behind. 21 against Buffalo, but I mean we kind of just destroyed Buffalo that game. 30 against Houston, but that was another game we were behind. And then he didn't do it again until OT win against Baltimore. Then he didn't do it again until the 46-25 win against Detroit.
Jesus.
So he only did it 4 or 5 times the whole year. Went over 20.
Wow.
I just don't think, I don't know, man. That just can't. I'm not an offensive coordinator or a head coach or anything, but you got to get him more involved. Tannehill's a hell of a quarterback. He's proven it time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta pass the ball more. But I think that's all I want to say. If there's anything else you want to throw in.
No, I think that's about it for me.
All right, so let's hop into the draft reaction. So we haven't had a podcast since before the draft. So I don't know, man. Tell me some of your thoughts.
Well, first off, I just want to talk about my team really quick. Trading up for Justin Fields, which I think was the steal of the draft. That's just my opinion. I don't know if you agree. But also getting Tevin Jenkins in the second round, man, that was an unbelievable draft for Chicago. But another thing I want to say is, what the hell is Las Vegas doing? What
Alex
the hell?
Leatherwood, bro.
I mean, it would have been better if they took Trevon Moehrig at that 17th spot and Alex Leatherwood in the second round. That would have made more sense than what they did. Like, honestly.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Should Detroit have taken Fields? Or do you think they were right in taking Panay?
It's just so hard with a team like Detroit with so many needs. I'm not big on golf. I know you're not either.
They're huge on golf.
I mean, yeah, he did lead them to. Well, he led the Rams to the Super Bowl, and he was a great player that year.
To the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he played his part. I think he's an average quarterback. I probably would have went Fields, but that's just putting Fields in a shitty situation.
Yeah, and I think Fields is in a good position in Chicago.
I think Trey Lance and Fields are in the best situations out of every quarterback. I think Lawrence is in a good situation, but it'll be a couple years before they win.
Lawrence is in a really good situation. That team is so young and good. Situation.
But as of win now, Lance
and Fields. I told you so many times, man. There is no reason that Jacksonville team should have won one game. No reason.
Was it y'all or the Colts they almost beat?
They did.
Was it both?
No, they did beat the Colts.
That is right. They almost beat Gay Bay too, or Green Bay.
Yeah, no, they almost did beat they did beat the Colts in week 1.
I remember that.
Only win.
Wow, that was their only win.
Yeah, and they posted a picture on Twitter after they beat the Colts. It was like, it was like 1-0, more to come.
I just want to talk about this though. Do you think Gardner Minshew got put to the curb? Do you think he was treated unfairly?
They did it on purpose.
I do agree with that.
I don't care, bro. Minshew's a good quarterback.
He's not bad. I'm not saying he's, great or nothing, but
Minshew has a noodle arm.
He's consistent. He's consistent. He don't turn it over.
He's a noodle arm. He has a noodle arm. But, bro, remember, Minshew started off the season on fire.
What was it? I don't mean you talked about this. If he played every single game, it would have been like 32 touchdowns.
It would have been like, it was over 30 touchdowns and like 4,300 yards. And only like 10 or 11 picks.
That's an above average year.
That's a hell of a great year. That's a hell of a year. And he had a high completion percentage too and a good rating.
Yeah, I think he could go somewhere and maybe solidify himself as a good starting quarterback. Maybe how like Andy Dalton was with the Bengals.
I agree.
In that sense. He's not elite, but he's good enough to hold down the job and maybe even have some years where he's a Pro Bowl caliber player.
I would have liked to have seen like Washington or someone get him.
Yeah, or maybe a team like the Saints if you're not sold on Jameis. I do like Jameis.
Bro, I think Jameis is going to ball out this year.
I do too, but I'm just saying from like a Saints point of view, I think they are big on him. I'm pretty sure I know they are. But if he wasn't, maybe bringing Gardner to compete with him, because I'm not sold on the whole Taysom Hill being a starting quarterback thing. I'm not.
Are they still saying that?
Honestly, I have no idea, but I think so.
Taysom can't be your starting quarterback, dude.
He's a hell of a gadget guy. I mean, give it to him in a QB draw or something every few plays, but he not as the whole starter, no.
Yeah, hell no. So let's talk about our team's individual drafts. So I'll start with the Titans. So I'm gonna read off if I can get it pulled up here. I'll read off the Titans picks. So first round, of course, Caleb Farley, and then Ray Duns in the second, which I loved. We got Monty Rice in the third. Elijah Molden in the third. I love that pick. Rashad Weaver. I love that pick. Pittsburgh is producing an amazing D-line over the next couple years. Literally amazing. Another guy that I like a lot from the that Pittsburgh D-line is Jalen Twyman. He's on the Vikings, I think. And then where is the... Okay, then the Des Fitzpatrick pick, which for some reason isn't showing up on here. And then in the 6th round, we drafted a safety named Brady Breeze. He's out of Oregon. He must have either played
Brady Breeze.
I guess he either played behind or next to Javon Holland. I don't know. And then Racy McMath, a wide receiver out of LSU. So I love the Caleb Farley pick. That's who I wanted them to take, all along, was Caleb Farley, because our secondary was one of the worst in the league this past year. And Vrabel said, they're going to inch Farley's way into the that corner number 1 spot. Of course, and
I do think that's the smart thing to do.
We signed Janoris Jenkins, Elijah Molden, who actually I think Elijah Molden profiles a little bit better as a safety, but if they want to keep him, at corner, so be it. I like Amani Hooker starting at safety, so I don't see the need to move Byard, and then then Christian Fulton, who I love. I'm huge on Christian Fulton. I think Christian Fulton is going to be a stud. I seriously do. Love the pick. But I'd say we'll start off with Janoris in that number 1 spot, and then he said we're going to start off with Caleb Farley in the slot, and apparently he's fully healthy.
Really?
He's fully healthy. He'll be ready for week 1. And Bud Dupree will too, by the way. I know that's off topic, but he will.
Okay.
Bud Dupree will be ready for week 1. But I like Caleb Farley. They're going to start him off in the slot, and then, just let him inch his way up. I'd say by mid-season or maybe a little bit after, Caleb Farley will be playing that corner number 1 spot. And I love it, man. I really do. And then, of course, Ray Duns in the second. I thought that was going to be a receiver. I thought it should have been a receiver. But we need another tackle. Of course, the Isaiah Wilson experiment failed, to say the least.
What about Dylan Raduns, however you pronounce
Raduns?
it. Raduns, yeah.
Yeah, I like the Raduns pick. He's a great tackle on the other side of Lawan. I love it.
Would you have took a other tackle over him that was on the board?
No. That was on the board, no. I like Ray Duns. I liked Ray Duns coming into the draft, and I love the pick.
Now, if the Bears didn't take, let's say, Tevin Jenkins, I would have been fine with the Duns pick as well in the 2nd round.
Yeah, I would have been fine with either one of those guys. But I'm happy.
I think Tevin Jenkins, man,
I'm happy with Ray Duns. I love the pick. Then Monty Rice, Jayon Brown's future with the Titans is a little bit uncertain. Of course, he had the injury last year that kept him out for the rest of the year. So he came back on a 1-year deal, I think. So he's he could be gone after this year. And truthfully, we don't know how good Jayon Brown's going to be. So I love the Monty Rice pick. I think he was one of the better inside linebackers in this class. And honestly, there was not too many good inside linebackers in this class.
There really wasn't. Dylan Moses from Alabama, I don't even believe he got drafted.
He didn't get drafted.
Him in coverage, man, I don't know which game it was. Maybe it was the Ohio State game, I believe. Man, he could not cover or shit, but, man, he can tackle. Oh, my God. Man, in the run game.
I don't know what happened to him. His last season at Alabama was just it wasn't good.
He's a great tackler against the run, making tackles, making sure he doesn't break any. But when it comes to coverage, man, you might as well just say goodbye.
Yeah, no, he's not a good cover guy. But
no, not at all.
I love the Monty Rice pick, and I already talked about the Elijah Molden pick. I love it. I don't want to say it's a steal, but I think it's a good pick for where they picked him. And then the Des Fitzpatrick pick, you know, I don't hate it. He's looked really good in camps, according to some Titans insiders I follow and Jim Wyatt and stuff. He's looked okay, so we'll see what happens with him. He'll probably be our fourth. Josh Reynolds will be our third. I really don't know where Des Fitzpatrick fits in right away. Who knows? Maybe he'll turn out to be like a Darnell Mooney. But
And speaking of Darnell Mooney, this is way off topic, but
God.
this is not a hoax. This is legit. I played 2K with him today. A humble guy, amazing guy.
Darnell Mooney, if you want to come on the podcast, let us know.
Man, that absolutely made my day, man. That was awesome. You ever hear this sometime, thank you so much. That was awesome.
That's great. But,
yeah, and this is not a hoax either. I legit played with him.
Mm-hmm. But
all right, so
nah, man. Overall, I'm gonna give the Titans. I'm gonna give them an A. I think we had a hell of a draft class. I really do. Caleb Farley's a big hit or miss. But the way Vrabel's talking, Farley looks healthy and he's playing good in OTAs. And him and Julio have actually been battling out a little bit. There's a video of it. Yeah, it was,
I'm gonna go ahead and give the Titans a grade 1, Matt. I'm gonna give them an A-. I'm gonna go A-. I think the Dre. I would go A, but the Fitzpatrick pick maybe.
That was a little bit. But nah, man. There was a video on Twitter of Farley and Julio going at it. It was funny.
In a bad way or like just messing around?
No, just messing around. Like
okay. I was about to say.
But
I was about to say.
Of course, they can't wear pads in OTAs. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So
yeah.
It was a very light. It was honestly mainly just Julio trying to moss him. It was really funny. But let's let me hear about your Bears.
So I'm gonna start it off complete unbiased. You might agree. I know they're up there for you, but I think the Chicago Bears have won the draft. I think we got production at every single pick, dudes that could pan out. So I'm gonna start it off with our first pick, and we trade up with the New York Giants. Don't remember the exact trade details. I believe it was a first. I'm gonna say this year. First this year, so our 20th pick, our third rounder, our first next year, and our fourth next year. I believe that's right. But you trade up and you get a guy like Justin. Ohio State has a bad history of quarterbacks coming up to the NFL that hasn't really panned out. One previously is Dwayne Haskins, but that is what it is. But in my opinion, I think Fields separates himself from all the other Ohio State quarterbacks.
On another
he's a
note,
4-4 guy.
On another note, I think Haskins is talented as fuck. I think he's just an idiot.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But anyway, sorry.
But
keep talking.
Yeah, you're good. He's 6'3", 220. He runs a 4.4. He slings it. He's accurate. He ran a 4.4.
I did not know that. Holy.
That I read that, and the Ohio State coach even said that he ran a 4.3 one time.
Oh man.
Which is absurd.
Yeah,
which is absolutely absurd for a dude his
Chicago
size.
Used to that.
No, we're not. I thought Trubisky was mobile. Man, Fields takes it to a whole new level when it comes to talent against Trubisky.
Oh, what about Nick Foles and Andy Dalton?
Foles is the odd man out. I would like to see him go to a team like the Jets, maybe to sit behind Wilson and be a vet. Because I believe their backups are like James Morgan and this other dude.
James Morgan
is never took an NFL snap
James
before.
Morgan looks like Throne, if you know who Throne is.
Yes.
They're twins.
But, I hope Nick the best. I really don't think he had a fair situation in Chicago last year. And, I hated the Andy Dalton signing at the time, and I still do for $10 million. But to just come in and, help show and mentor Justin Fields, I don't mind it. And I don't think you would either because, he was a 9-year starter for the Bengals. Mm-hmm. He's not a bad quarterback, and I still don't think he's a bad quarterback. I do think he's an upgrade over Foles and Trubisky.
And was still good on never really amazing Bengals teams.
Yeah, the Bengals are a joke. Yeah. Maybe not as much now as they were back then, but, it is what it is. But, yeah, I'll move on here in a second, but I think Fields is going to be a stud. He has all the tools. He's fast. He's mobile. He's accurate. He can sling the ball. The only problem that I have with Fields is his production under pressure. Looking at the top 5 quarterbacks last year, under pressure, I think he was the lowest rank in every stat out of the 5 of them, which kind of shocked me with his mobility. But, you know, he can break sacks, and he's got everything. I'll hop up his dick in a second.
He's hard to tackle.
He is. It's just, I really don't understand, you know, you're fast like that, and you're so accurate on the run. I just don't understand that, how you're so bad like that under pressure.
He sits in the pocket for too long, I think. At least that's what I gathered from watching film. I think Fields sits in the pocket way too long.
Yeah, and, you know, you can't really do that at the NFL, but I think that is coachable. I do, and I do think he's going to pan out.
Especially if that Bears O-line has a repeat of last year.
Yeah, well, the end of last year.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the end of last year, we was actually decent. And before that, it was horrendous.
Yeah, no, if that Bears O-line has a repeat of last year, then Fields is going to struggle.
So, talking about the O-line, I'm going to move on to the next pick, and that was actually trading up again with the Seahawks, I believe. I'm not sure. I think it was the Seahawks. To take Tevin Jenkins, the left tackle out of Oklahoma State, or the right tackle, but he's playing left tackle for the Bears. Now, I love the player, but I do have some concerns of putting him at left tackle in his rookie year. I think he would have been safer off putting him at right. I didn't really understand it, but, you know, if he pans out, he pans out. In my opinion, if he can be above average, and Cody Whitehair does Cody Whitehair things, and Sam Mustipher's even above average, and James Daniels is above average, and Ifedi's just, you know, average, I think this offensive line can be top 15, 16 in the league, and if you get that compared to last year, I'd be thrilled. Because last year, you can ask Logan, when we played the Titans looked like
they made our pass rush look like the damn Buccaneers.
Yeah, it was awful, man. It was horrendous. But I love the pick. He's a mauler. He's a great dude. And all he wants to do is just protect his quarterback, man. He even said that. Yeah. And, you know, he does that, you know, props to you. But moving on to the next pick, we actually did not have a 3rd and 4th. This was our 5th rounder, Larry Borum. I don't know if he was primary left or right, but I do know he swings. I do see him more as a guard, though. He came out of Mississippi State. Or Mississippi, one or the other. I think it was Mississippi. Or, no, Missouri. Shit, Missouri. Yeah, it was Missouri. But I think he has potential to be a decent swing guy, but I do prefer him as a guard. Almost like how an Alex Bars is for our team. You know, you can put him in and be fine. I think he can reach that level and be an average starter in the league. I don't really see him breaking out. But it was an okay pick. It was definitely my least favorite pick out of the bunch, because, you know, you go offensive tackle back-to-back. It just, I don't know. I think you could have took a receiver, even a corner right there. I know we hadn't cut Fuller yet, but even then, you still needed a 3rd.
Right.
But our next pick, it was Khalil Herbert, running back from Virginia Tech. He's not going to have a role, really, as a pure running back his rookie year, but I think he's in the conversation for being our kickoff or punt returner, for that mean. And, you know, I didn't know much about him, but I read into him. He was a steal. There were some 4th-round grades on him. And before I read about him, I would have gave that pick a D. But now looking back on it, I would have gave it a B+ or A-. Because, you know, you lost Patterson. Tariq Cohen's coming off an ACL tear, you know, returning punts, and I think he needs to quit doing that. So, you know, you get a dude that can come in and lead your special teams. I think that was a hell of a pick in the 6th round, you know, for a team that's win now.
Right.
So, moving on, we drafted Thomas Graham Jr., cornerback from Oregon. Now, he opted out last year due to COVID, but the year before, is Oregon in the SEC?
Oregon is in the Pac-12.
Pac-12. So, he led the Pac-12 in interceptions, pass breakups.
Let me look that up just to make sure I'm not a complete dumbass. Pretty sure Oregon's in the Pac-12 though.
Yeah, I believe it is. You know, I'm not much of a college guy until it comes to the draft.
I'm not either.
But yeah, he led in interceptions, pass breakups, and like lowest percentage of receptions when it was targeted his way, and he had a late first or second round grade on him in 2019. But where he opted out in 2020, he dropped low, and we picked him up in the 6th round. The 6th round. You can't tell me that's not a steal.
No,
for a dude that led
that's a
in
great
3
pick.
category stats.
That's a great pick.
That's an A+ pick for me. I think he can come in and be our slot cornerback in his rookie year, and it's really up to him or Duke Shelley on this point, and I kind of hope he takes over because I watched Duke last year, Duke Shelley, and he was okay, but man, he just gave up a lot of receptions. So that was one of my favorite picks in this draft. That was an absolute steal, and I think this next pick is a steal. And I think you're going to agree with me, and that was Daz Newsome out of North Carolina.
I like that pick a lot.
And he's a playmaker. He can return punts. He can return kicks. He's a great after-the-catch guy. My only problem is his hands when he's running the deep routes. I know he dropped some balls at UNC, but again, that's coachable. He is an exceptional player at making yards after the catch. I think he is a perfect dude to slide in with A-Rob saying he's here next year. Because as I don't even think you know this, but Daz Newsome actually broke his collarbone before OTAs.
Uh-huh.
But he will be back for week 1. But, as a rookie, you got to get those reps in to get a job, especially as a 6th-rounder. So I really don't see him playing much this year. But, next year, if he can come in and take that slot role and just take off with it, that would be exceptional. And I think he will do that. Last year we had Darnell Mooney in the 5th round, and look at him in his rookie year. I mean, it's possible for these late round guys to just take off. Some people say 5th, 6th, 7th rounders are just a waste of a pick. They're really not.
No, they're definitely not.
Is it Dre Greenlaw?
It's very common. Yeah, Dre Greenlaw.
Is that his name? He's a stud. Yeah, he's really good. He was a 6th round pick. Mooney was a 5th. Jeremy Chin was a 6th last year. There were guys that can take off in these later rounds.
Yeah.
And the Bears have done that over the past few years. That's one thing that our GM, Ryan Pace, is good at, is finding these talents in the later rounds. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe James Daniels was a 2nd. I know we had someone on our team that was like a 6th rounder. Maybe it was like Eddie Jackson, like the 4th round, but he solidified himself as a top safety. Obviously not last year. Last year was not good, but like 2018, you could even make a debate that he was the best safety in the league.
Yeah, no, he had a hell of a 2018.
So, yeah, I love the 6th-round picks. I think they can contribute day 1 just as long as, they get their reps in and stuff. But obviously I'm not sure about Daz at this point. But, I think he will take off later, maybe in a 2nd or 3rd year. But our 7th-round pick, when I heard his name, I was like, the hell? His name's Kyrus Tonga. He was the defensive tackle at BYU. What I've read about this guy is he's a great run stopper. He's a big dude, He's got the long black hair. I think he's like Hawaiian or something. I don't even know. Mm-hmm. But he's just out of shape. So, he's not in, an all-down defensive tackle, but when he does play, he's really productive. It almost reminds me of what was the comparison I had? Can you think of, some good D tackles that, stop the run but aren't, always on the field? Maybe a Damon Harrison at this point in his career.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say Damon Harrison.
Yeah, he can. I think he can be okay. As a rotation guy, nothing crazy. But it's like I said. There's some guys you would never expect to take off, and they just do. Look at Tom Brady, for example, 6th-round pick, and he's the GOAT.
Yeah,
I mean, you just don't know. But yeah, I'll give the Bears an A+. I think we won the draft. I think we nailed on every single pick, and I honestly think you might even agree. I mean, it was that good of a draft.
I do. I like the Bears draft. I agree.
It was, man, what a draft. So, this may be a little, we not really talked about UDFAs, but there's this one, I think he's from Virginia Tech. He's he's an outside linebacker, and I may be wrong about the college, but it's Charles Snowden. Mm-hmm. And I think he had a 5th-round grade on him from something I read, and we picked him up. And, with Robert Quinn's struggles last year, it'd be awesome to see him get the rotation. And I actually have him making my 53-man roster.
Yeah, no, that's not – I don't know too much about him.
I definitely heard the name, it's something if I hear the name about guys that are later rounds, because I usually check, the first 4 rounds. And
he
then,
came out of Virginia.
Oh, so I was,
You were almost
close.
right.
Yeah, I don't have a phone or nothing in front of me, so I'm going off the top of my head. But I know I got all the drafted rookies colleges right. I know I messed up on Borum's, but I got it. I got it. But yeah, I think it was a steal for UDFA. You look at other guys like Alex Barr's on the team and Sam Mustipher, who are almost capable starters at this point. I think Sam Mustipher is severely underrated. I think it was a hell of a pickup. Did y'all have any UDFAs that really caught your eye or anything?
None that I really like that we've signed. But Charles Snowden, he put up 72 tackles, 11 for loss, 5 sacks, 4 pass deflections, and a fumble recovery in 2019. Then in his senior year, he put up 44 tackles, 10 for loss, 6 sacks, 3 pass deflections, and a forced fumble.
Yeah, I mean, it was a decent year, and if I'm not mistaken, he was actually coming off an injury. I may be wrong about that, and I believe I am. But, I mean, it was a solid year, and the dude's, his speed coming off the line of scrimmages, it's great. And he actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Robert Quinn, maybe just a little bit better in the run game. In a way, not shitty Robert Quinn that we got now, but like maybe Cowboys Robert Quinn that was there for a year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'd love to see him pan out, and I do think he'll make the 53-man roster. So that's really all I got for the draft.
So I've got one more topic, but briefly, let's talk about Tim Tebow. How you feel?
I hope the best for him. I like Tim Tebow. I think he can be an okay tight end. I just don't see it happening. But I do hope for the best for him. I do hope he succeeds.
If Trevor Lawrence throws a touchdown pass to him, oh my God. Imagine Trevor Lawrence's first touchdown pass of his career is to Tim Tebow.
Oh my God. I just would have never thought he'd be back in the league, especially as a fucking tight end. Like, what the hell?
I don't know, man.
But he is a big boy. I saw a picture of him, man. He's gotten big.
Bro, Tim Tebow's a big fucker.
Yeah, he's huge.
Let me look up old Tim Tebow. He's 33.
But I hope the best for him. I do hope he succeeds. I don't know about you.
255.
Damn.
Last played in 2015.
God.
Actually,
what do you think of Tim Tebow? I don't mind him. I'm not saying he was a great player, but I like him as a person, and I hope for the best for him.
Tim Tebow's a hell of an athlete. I'll say that.
Yeah, I would have loved to see him try at another position in his prime. Maybe as a Taysom Hill type of role.
What was the farthest he went in baseball?
Oh, did he play for the Mets for a game?
Yeah, bro. He was signed under a contract with the Mets, but I don't think he ever actually played.
I think he may have played a game. I'm not positive. But
how far did he go in the minors? How far did
I think double. I want to say double. I'm not sure though. I want to say double A.
No, he got all the way up to triple A.
Damn, that's impressive.
He in 2019 for the Syracuse Mets, he hit, and of course we're a football podcast, I know, but he had 39 hits, 4 home runs. Honestly, bro, his 2018 season, for the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. They're a Mets affiliate in the Double A. He played hella good. He batted .273, had 6 home runs, 74 hits, 32 bro.
Dang, that's not a bad year. That's above average.
Okay, hold on.
The fucking ponies, though. Can we just
Binghamton Rumble Ponies?
The fucking ponies, sir. What team do you play for? Oh, the Rumbling Ponies. What
they're the Double A Mets affiliates.
Well, everybody, there's your laugh for the podcast. The Rumbling Ponies.
But I don't know, man. The Tim Tebow situation is interesting, but for the last top, I did want to do the Bears and Titans breakout candidates, but I kind of want to save that for a little bit closer to the regular season.
I'm cool with saving it.
So let's briefly talk about the situation in Green Bay. So
Okay. Oh God, screw me.
I don't know, man. Aaron Rodgers is so confusing. I mean,
He's a very keep to himself man. I hate the motherfucker, but we're gonna put bias to the side for this topic. I'm not gonna say nothing. He just needs to be a man and say something. Like, not even just to the media, just let Green Bay know something. Like,
and apparently
you're under
Jordan
contract for
Love
him.
has not looked that good.
I know he had that one great practice.
Yeah,
but everything else I've read, he's not been good.
And I actually liked Jordan Love coming out of college.
I was mad on him. I think his ceiling was like a Jay Cutler, sort of, and high pick guy, but could flash times.
But
which I don't think that's a bad comparison for him. I really don't.
Where did he? It was either Utah or Utah State. I think it's Utah.
It was Utah State.
It was Utah State.
Yeah, it was
I don't
Utah
know though.
State.
That Utah State team he was on though was not good. I know that team was terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
But and him and Devontae Adams have been talking a little bit on social media. They posted the picture that everyone was trying to debunk of Jordan and Pippen. Both posted the picture on their Instagram stories. So I don't know, man. It's if for some reason A-Rod does leave Green Bay, that division to me is the Bears.
For this year, I would give to the Vikings.
I could agree.
I love my Bears.
I think the Vikings are about to be really good this year.
Yeah, I'm not saying the Bears are a bad team. I would just maybe lean a little more to the Vikings.
As much as I don't want to say it, if those three teams make the playoff or are in playoff contention, I think the odd team out is the Bears.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. I think our ceiling, let's say Field comes and balls out, 12 wins as our ceiling, and our floor maybe like 5. But I think we meet 7 and 9, somewhere in there, because we're not a bad team. But if you look at our schedule, it's hella hard.
But
it is crazy hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's really not much to say about the Green Bay situation because we don't know.
We're not heard nothing.
And Devontae Adams basically told the media, no Aaron Rodgers, no me. And he's been on record as saying that he would love to reunite with Derek Carr, which, cool, I guess. But
so let's say Rodgers and Adams is not there. If you're the Packers, what do you do? Because you got like guys like Bakhtiari.
Our team, even if they do leave, that team's still really good.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think the defense is above average. But, guys are getting older. I think, how old is Sedarius? 27, 28? I want to say.
I guess you throw Jordan Love in there.
But do you rebuild? Do you just trade a lot of players, or do you just settle with what you got?
I say you don't rebuild right away.
I would say maybe trade a few players. But maybe that first year, maybe just try to get Jordan Love as much support as you can.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, dude. That's a weird situation, man.
It's the weirdest in the league. It really is. We just don't know nothing.
I really thought Rodgers was going to end up in San Fran.
I've been thinking Denver, and I still do think Denver if he does get traded.
Rodgers is a Cali boy. He wants to be. I think he wants to be in California, and I don't know where else he'd go in California that needs a quarterback and to contend besides San Fran, which San Fran doesn't need a quarterback anymore. So,
but would they pull a trigger with Trey Lance in the trade? Would that be possible?
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either, but it is an interesting topic.
But because A-Rod. A-Rod's coming off of an MVP season and literally one of the best seasons of his career at 37. But that's the thing. He's 37.
Yeah.
And do you really trade your Trey Lance, who had an unbelievable year at North Dakota State? Do you really trade him?
And it would take 2 or 3 firsts as well. That's just my guess. I don't
I don't
I
think
think the Packers would ask for a lot.
maybe Garoppolo's involved in that somehow.
Possibly.
And you let Trey Lance play behind A-Rod for a couple years, which I don't think that's a bad thing.
I actually don't either. I just feel like the Packers would ask for Lance. I don't know, though.
I don't
I just
understand
don't
why
know.
they'd ask for Lance, though, if they already have. I mean, because that's literally... Because they drafted Love in the first round, didn't they?
Yeah, 28 overall, I believe.
I thought it was higher than that.
No, it was like 28 or 27.
So, yeah, bro, I just don't...
I think it all just comes down to the day. How big are the Packers on Jordan Love? Do you think he can play?
I mean, but that's the thing, though. They haven't really given him a chance. They don't know if he
That
can
is
play.
true.
They
It's
don't
just-
know.
But I've read a lot of things. You know, you can... Obviously, this is like not 100% true, but you know, you can tell a lot in a guy in a practice with their mental game and with their skill. And sometimes you just know that they can't play. You know, if you...
Dude, it's such a fucked up situation. It really is.
It really is. You know, I hate the Packers. I can't stand them. I hate their fans even more.
I mean,
And I'm so glad, and I think it's so funny that they're in this situation. But if this was my team, I'd be hell pissed.
but I mean, like, really, like, do you give up, you know, Trey Lance, who you just traded up for, and then they did, they traded up for him with Miami, right? And then,
Yeah, they give up a lot.
And then, do you really trade Trey Lance, who you just traded up for, who you think is your quarterback of the future, Garoppolo replacement, who is going to change that offense, and a couple picks?
Well, you know, coming to think of it now, do they even have picks?
They do. Yeah, they do.
But first, or is it just like seconds?
That's actually a great question, but bro, I don't know. I mean, because it's like, do you really give up Trey Lance and like 2 first-round picks or whatever for a 37-year-old quarterback? Now, keep in mind, you know, like I've said numerous times, this 37-year-old quarterback was just an MVP and is one of the greatest of all time. But that's the thing, though. He's 37.
I do think he's got 3 solid years left in him.
I agree.
It's hard to tell.
And what Rodgers did this year was unbelievable. They drafted his replacement, and he basically gave the organization a big fuck you.
I mean, he did that with Adams, who's arguably maybe the best receiver in the league. I'd still give that title to Hopkins, but I think he's second.
I don't, I mean, no matter how you feel about Rodgers, I mean, that's insane. I mean, he literally...
It's impressive. It is. And I hate the man. I hate the Packers, but it's impressive.
They drafted his replacement, and he basically looked at that organization this year and said, fuck you. And I don't know, man.
I just wonder if Green Bay could go back and redo that pick. Would they do the same thing? Would they take Love?
Probably not.
I thought they were idiots. You know, you just made the conference championship. You got to get your dude some help.
I'm sorry, but for the next 2 years, that's their peak.
Yeah.
As long as with LA back on the come up, with Brady still out in the NFC, that's their peak.
That was it.
But that championship game shows what separates Rodgers from Brady. Because I guarantee you, if Rodgers throws 3 picks, Brady is going to shove that shit down their throat.
Yep, he is going to deep throat the fuck out of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's just crazy.
3 picks and they can't win the fucking game.
And even then, you know, you got teams like the Vikings that got better this year, and the Bears. Those could be losable games. Even then,
definitely.
Maybe not this year.
Especially the Vikings.
Yeah, I do think the Vikings are more of a threat this year. But if we're talking about upcoming years, I think the Bears. That's just because the Bears actually got a bright future, like a pretty bright future.
Yeah, somewhat they really do. But I don't know, man. But I think we're gonna end it off here, unless there's something else you want to throw in.
No, I think Brandon got it covered.
Well, thank you all for watching. We'll hopefully see you guys next week. We're going. I want to aim for once a week, and I think we could stick to that. So
yeah.
Thank you all for watching, and peace.
I enjoy.